CountryWide CONNECT with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
Our guest waiting on the line, and we better get to him, is John Faulkner. He's a dairy farmer and a regional councillor. John, g'day mate, welcome to the show. Really appreciate having you with us.
Kia ora, how are you? And it's great to be here in the best part of the country up here in North Canterbury at the moment.
Yeah, I bet you it's looking like a picture up there at the moment, John.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic.
We've just got off a panel with our two sheep and beef farmers, our North and South panel, and both of them have said the same thing, that this is a season that they are going to look back and fondly. They were both younger farmers and saying it's just out of the absolute box for sheep and beef farmers. Probably the same for dairy as well, I would have thought, John.
It's pretty good at the moment. I was thinking back just recently, I think it was 2014, 15, 16, up in North Canterbury, we had a 3-year drought and there wasn't a skerrick of grass on those hills at all. And I can emphasise with the young guys.
Absolutely. Hey, John, you have been a councillor now for a little while, a Canterbury Regional Councillor. You've also had a long history now in the whole area of governance and environment. You were the chair of the Huranui Waiau Zone Committee back at the very beginning of all of these processes, engaging with farmers. Tell us, what do you think at the moment is the kind of key issue when it comes to the reforms that are being talked about with regional councils and representation, etc.?
I think the biggest issue is going to be implementation. It's not the changes per se. I think the changes themselves are looking pretty good. I'm really keen on the RMA reform funnel concept, getting decisions made less political at the coalface. I think that's really a really good move. The biggest concern I have is how they're going to restructure the regional councils. I know there's a lot of angst about regional councils' performance and cost of consents, but when you look at the alternative and getting rid of regional councils, you look at Environment Canterbury, we've got some rural councillors there that have got decades of experience, and throwing the baby out with the bathwater seems not a logical process to me.
Yes, we're very lucky here in Canterbury to have that depth of skill and experience, because it has been a long, hard battle. Well, it's not even a battle really. Everybody's learned how to collaborate. So pretty hard to go back and start from square one, and important to have that experience on board.
Yes, I think if you look at the council in the past, the biggest problem is the politicisation of issues instead of taking an issue by issue approach and trying to resolve it, which the zone committee process did. It was a collaborative, consensus-based process, and I absolutely am 100% in favour of it. And one of the biggest issues we've got at the moment in Canterbury is the nitrate emergency declaration, and I look at how we resolved in the Huranui the 10% issue. We got everybody together, we got all the stakeholders, we brought all the science that was available, and we had a discussion, and we came up with a pragmatic solution that suited everybody.
So, John, that's an interesting one, that nitrate emergency, and we saw a lot of noise about that. Was it towards the end of last year or the middle of last year when that was announced? Is that for all of Canterbury then, is there something that the model of what you just talked about, should that be done right across the district?
I think so, because if you look at the level of science data that's out there, not just from Environment Canterbury, but from the irrigation companies, other entities that are involved, there is so much science out there. But we always have an argument over data and what to do with the data. And I don't think within the farming community there is an argument that there is an issue to resolve.
But how did you Sorry, I was just going to say, how did you cut through the politicisation of it then? Because it struck me as a very politicised issue, nitrate emergency, climate change emergency, people love to put a label on it. And once they do that, they don't really want to pull back.
No, and that's part of the problem, and that's why I got involved in standing for regional council too, because I really do believe in the only way to have a durable solution is if you can get everybody in the room and have a conversation and lay politics aside. The way that the councils have been structured, you have a weighting. You can have a weighting either to the rural or you can have a weighting to the urban. So the RMA reform, the way that they're proposing it, I think, if I'm correct in my assessment, is that a lot of those politicisation arguments will be taken away. There'll be environmental bottom line set at a national level, and then we will have to do it, and it'll be about implementation.
And how do you marry up the three-legged stool, as it were, that has been a big part of those zone committees and a big part of building the strategy that Canterbury's had, and bringing in the other aspects to those bottom lines? You know, building in the economic, the people, the social.
I go back to a conversation I had in 2018. I took a young Ngā Tahu leader up to the Dairy Environment Leaders Conference, a very eloquent Māori gentleman, and he spoke passionately about how Māori connected with the land. And his opening statement was, we're Māori and we're not going anywhere. And I responded to that, I'm a dairy farmer and I'm not going anywhere. And he looked at me and says, well, we're going to have to learn how to work together then, aren't we?
And you have. I mean, that's been a fantastic part of this whole process, especially here in the coming together of those facts, and then seeing what farmers are doing on farm, as you see up there. One of those things that you've been working on, John, wetlands, it's a big issue. You wouldn't think it would be such a big deal here in Canterbury, but it is. And you've been working with the council on how to process that, how to move forward on that, and the rules and the red tape that are part of that process. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I go back to when I started on the Zone Committee in 2010, and we were very much focused on setting rules and regulations. And there was a number of parties that came into the conversation that were focused on the non-regulatory approach. And I was a little bit diffident, I would say. But as time has gone on, I see the only way to make real substantial process is via a non-regulatory approach, because it's so many of the issues that need resolving cannot be regulated for. I've created a contemporary Noahonga site on my property, and there is no rule or regulation that can force that. So some of these actions, they are non-regulatory. So we need to come up with a process that encourages that. And I look at the government's investment boost allowance. So that gives a tax break for doing projects that are productive. And in the wetland space, I think you could argue that that is a mechanism that if we could bring wetlands onto the books as a productive asset for farming and get a tax deduction or some incentive, would make pace far faster than any regulation could ever achieve.
Yeah, there's nothing like a little bit of financial incentive or benefit to do that on something like that. We are just running out of time, John, but I'm just interested in your thoughts in what we've seen down in Southland with the Thriving Southland model, with the funding the government's put into there a few years ago. Is that something you think should be rolled out wider across the country?
Yeah, I think there is so many opportunities out there to change the direction. And I will go back again and said the current mindset achieves minimal gains.
Yeah,
and that is a big factor, isn't it? Is getting everybody on board and carrying on that collaborative approach that you can say over and over again is what the only way to make things go forward.
Yep. No, it is. And I keep hammering away at that drum, and sometimes it feels like rather a solitary drum.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, John, fantastic to talk to you. We really do appreciate it. So, look, wetland. Just very quickly. So that discussion about wetland investment, is that just an idea, or is that actually being floated, as a tax deductible thing? Is that something that could grow legs?
I think it could grow legs. The more people that talk about it, the more it will grow. We can set a rule framework up where wetland creation is easier, but if you want to make real progress, you've got to put that carrot out there.
All right, John, we do need to go, and I do that. I always get in trouble for this, saying half saying goodbye and then remembering a new question. Hey, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you for the time.
I get in trouble for that, and I always do that all the time. But that is, like farmers do very much respond to a financial incentive.
Yep.
A tax rebate means you're not particularly, you're getting some money, but it's a benefit. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's again bringing all of those aspects of it together. We see the same with solar. We're doing some work on that at the moment as a project, and as soon as you start putting all of those things together, there's a definite will, but there's got to be an economic advantage.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.